Hey Siri, off. Hey Siri, off. I guess I gotta go turn it off somehow. I don't know how to turn it off. No one listens to me anymore. Hey Siri, turn off. Lordy, lordy, lordy. Lordy, lordy, lordy. Lordy, lordy, lordy. That's an inauspicious start. That is an inauspicious start. I apologize to everybody. I had to turn it off. I thought it would just turn off. Oh. All right, let's jump into what we can do and how we can do it. And no, I didn't buy that book. I can't even remember. I wrote it down. It was about the Russian Revolution. I have to try to do it. For some reason, my just warning you guys today, my eye is where I was operated. I'm worried. Yeah, I'm over worrying, I'm sure, but it hurts. And then I'm feeling really not very, I'm not feeling badly. I'm just feeling worn out, tired, something. So anyway, I'll do my best, but as ever, as Meghan Markle says, as ever, cut me some slack. Cut me some slack. All right, I'm going to tell you where we are on Railtown. A lot of paper I'm moving. I know it makes a lot of noise. I know that too. But what do you expect for nothing? Rubber biscuits. So we have a good update on, not great, but it's pretty good. We're a heartbeat away from a milestone, and I'll show it to you. So here's where we are in Railtown. You guys are amazing. We're at 70,000 below 9 million. We're almost at 9 million. 8,934,948. 174 shareholders, 6.3% using the Yahoo numbers. If we use the over-the-counter market numbers, this would be higher, but I don't know that either one of those numbers are necessarily up to date. But still, isn't that amazing? We have 6% and essentially 9 million shares. You guys are amazing. You guys are amazing. I guess no one else is going to join. I know my technology skills are amazing. I just have incredible technology skills. I've noticed that about myself, particularly when new things come out. I adapt so easily. All right.
Railtown AI is here to transform the way you work. Whether you're a developer, team lead, scrum master, project manager, VP of engineering, CTO, CFO, or CEO, we've got something for everyone. For developers, AI for root cause analysis and ticket creation. For team leads, AI for onboarding and automated release notes. For scrum masters, AI-driven insights on builds, deployments, and tickets. For project managers, VP of engineering, and CTOs, AI for performance analysis. For CFOs, AI reports and productivity analysis. For CEOs, AI communication on your application and team. Railtown AI offers better error tracking, root cause discovery and analysis, automated release notes, Scrum Master AI assistance, onboarding support, knowledge-based AI assistance, and engineering velocity dashboards. So join the future of work with Railtown AI. Elevate your performance, streamline your processes, and make data-driven decisions. Visit our website, railtown.ai, to learn more and revolutionize the way you work. Railtown AI is here to transform the way you work. Whether you're a developer, team lead, scrum master, project manager, VP of engineering, CTO, CFO, or CEO, we've got something for everyone. For developers, AI for root cause analysis and ticket creation. For team leads, AI for onboarding and automated release notes. For scrum masters, AI-driven insights on builds, deployments, and tickets. For project managers, VP of engineering, and CTOs, AI for performance analysis. For CFOs, AI reports and productivity analysis. For CEOs, AI communication on your application and team. Railtown AI offers better error tracking, root cause discovery and analysis, automated release notes, Scrum Master AI assistance, onboarding support, knowledge-based AI assistance, and engineering velocity.
All right. You get it. You get the point. It's one of those shorts. It just keeps repeating itself. It's not tall enough. Here, I can use this. It's another short one I can show you. I think it's short if I can find it. And maybe it was yesterday. Yesterday once more. There it is. Shooby-dooby-doo-wah. It's yesterday once more. Catchy. That's it. Oh, it's emergency services? What the hell? What's going on? Is there emergency? Cancel. What is happening to my phone? Slide to call emergency services. If I hit cancel. What? I'm not trying to make an emergency call. Is somebody screwing with my phone? All right. Let's just leave my phone off for now. Frustrating. Or I'll try to turn it on again. I need it to talk to you guys. All right, here it goes. Anyway, I didn't get the book, Matthew, but I got to remember, I wrote it down. It's on the Russian Revolution. I do want to get it. I won't try to play anything more for you right now. I don't know why that goes to emergency. But anyway, let's start. Pete, Upa, good evening. Yeah, I'm good at technology, as I said. Hey, D-Mac, hey, Darren. One thing, I don't know where to start. There's several things in my head that I want to talk about, but the reason I'm coming on is any day, but it could be any week. It could be any week. It could be any month, frankly. I don't think you're going to be able to buy Railtown for 60 cents. Could that be tomorrow? I don't know. I've certainly been incorrect so far. So you may end up with more time than I think. You may end up with more time. But I'm worried that if you don't act, it's going to be much more expensive one of these days. Of course, I've been saying that now for 6 weeks, so admittedly, I could be early. I was early, I could still be early. Let me see if I wrote anything down. I think I'm going to have to do it by my memory. I'm not sure I made a list to myself. I did not. So I kind of want to talk about Railtown, but I also want to talk about more of a strategy as well. And I'm telling you, my left eye is pounding. I don't know. So if you're noticing me not up to speed, that's it. That is it. Anyway, there's several things I'm trying to navigate. And one of them is trying to get you ready to be your own central bank, your own financial island in a storm. And I did make a list. It's over there. I have to remember it by memory, though. So there's macro. There's the whole macro environment. Then there's the macro environment around AI. And there's and then there's Railtown. And then there's the other options out there for your money. And then there's the strategy of these men who I think all work together. And they like to come in as your friend. They're not your friend. They're not your friend. They're not your friend. They need you. And we can talk about that a little bit. I need more space here. Nightmare. Sorry. I should have spent some time preparing before I went live. And the reason I'm stalling right now is because my eye is killing me. I have no idea. I guess you just move on, right? You just live with it. All right, let's remind you, I already did it. Anybody new joining in, I know I have a small audience, but we have 6% of the outstanding shares of Railtown. You guys are amazing. It's almost not, we're about 70,000 shares away from having 9 million shares. Amazing. So in the macro sense, I still, as I've been calling, even when the market corrected earlier in the year and people came on here calling for the S&P to crash, and then get offended if I quote their exact words to them. I'm calling still for the S&P to go to 8,500, the Dow to 65,000, NASDAQ to 30,000, Russell to 4,000. That's a big push. Gold to 5,000 and silver to 120. There's others out there that have lower targets. But I think this could all happen by the time people go back to school. It could happen by Halloween. It could happen by Thanksgiving. It could happen by Christmas, Hanukkah. It could happen by New Year's. It could be in the first quarter. But once these numbers are achieved, I think the markets are going to correct, and I go really to an extreme, but I think they're going to correct 95%. As I've said before, it might not do that in dollar terms, but I think it will do that in comparison to gold. On the other hand, I think gold, if there's a correction of that magnitude, everything will go down. But so what I'm saying is we're in the last stages of your lifetime's bull market. There's so few of you that are my age. But if you're my age, it's your adult life. It's your adult life was a bull market. Your entire aware adult life was a bull market, after you got out of the sort of late adolescence of teenage and early 20s. The rest of your life was a complete bull market in everything. And including retirement accounts, housing, everything. And that's coming to an end. But if we have a strategy, we don't have to be scared. We don't have to be scared. When that corrects, I think I've said all this before, and I listen to different people. If it sounds a lot like the gentleman David Hunter, is because I think he's called it the best. But there's about 6, 7, 8 people I listen to. So I pick my own best out of it. Sometimes you got to stick with the one that seems correct. Anyway, I'd love to get him on here, by the way. I'd love to get him on here. That will be met, I think, with one last gasp of the Fed printing money. And, I don't like that term. They say the Fed prints money. I just think the Fed's always catching up with the banks. I think the banks create a lot of money out of thin air. But what the Fed will be doing is buying a lot of assets, because what I'm talking about is deflation. China apparently is in the middle of asset deflation. So you're going to see everything collapse. It's just the great unwinding. We've kicked the can down the road, and I guess the can can't be kicked anymore. However, there'll be one last monumental attempt to rescue the system. And I said to you, I thought there'd be $100 trillion put on central banks' balance sheets. It's funny. I heard that today on an interview. Never had heard that before. What I had heard before was 30 trillion maybe, but I expanded it for the whole world to 100 trillion. And I think that's what's going to happen. I think the central banks will try to rescue the London, New York, Tokyo financial system one more time. And I think it'll work. I think the stock market will rally. Just like in 29, it'll rally. It crashed and then it rallied, but it will not go back to where it was. And I think there'll be a shift in leadership. One of the questions we have with Railtown is AI going to be part of that new leadership? Because if I had to guess, those MAGA 7 stocks are going to be chopped down to size in terms of their multiples. On the other hand, AI is growing so rapidly, those multiples might be justified. So there's going to be something that's going to be something we have to pay attention to. Those are those big 7 companies. But anyway, I think the world's in for a real come down. China's in trouble, apparently. We're no longer cooperating. There's a vacuum of leadership. The just-in-time manufacturing system isn't working. Israel is insisting on, they're now bombing Gaza again. They're committing genocide in the West Bank, and they're attacking Syria. So I don't know why Iran agreed to a ceasefire, because the Israelis have no intention of stopping, and will be sucked into that war. I don't think it's a coincidence that Netanyahu came out here to get his dry cleaning done to DC, and next thing it's Epstein, it's supporting Zelensky, and back to bombing, and oh my gosh, anyway, I don't want to get in the politics of it because you guys don't see the seriousness, but the world's really could be at war within a month and a half. Trump gave Putin a 50-day deadline. He almost did a complete about face once that fatter came into town. So we're gonna keep our moral dignity to be the only country that supports about 6 million murderers, genocidal maniacs, no better than the Nazis, no better. But anyway, I know that'll piss some people off, so let me just move on from it. To me, it's self-evident that where the United States is going to lose its empire, already has, following this Zionist path of destruction. I don't know why we're doing it. But it plays into a financial world where there's no leadership. Nobody listens to us anymore. And when there's vacuums, that's when war starts. And that's bad. It's good for the banks. It's bad for the rest of us. And you can get pissed off at me, but that's what's going on. Um, so anyway, I think what'll happen is the Fed and the rest of the world will try to rescue out of this both economic crash and financial market crash. So I don't know. I'm not as, I guess I'm not as skilled to tell you the time frame, but I understand that it could be next year. Obviously, that's when it would start. But I understand that the snapback could be as quickly as 9 months. I'd have to go look what happened in after 1929. That seems quite quick, but it's possible. It's possible. So anyway, you'll have a rally back, which will give an opportunity to make a dead cat bounce almost, to make some money back, and we'll get a chance to see a rotation to new leadership. I think that leadership is going to be, broadly speaking, if you think about the United States, maybe Canada, maybe Mexico, maybe Greenland, that game you used to play of Risk, we're going to just withdraw to that part, and we're going to have our own factories, our own trains, our own food, it's kind of bringing it home. And in that context, there's going to be a tremendous demand for commodities of all kinds. So the leadership will switch over the next, I'd say over, I don't know, 5 to 10 to 15 years. The leadership in the market is totally going to move away from everything you've gotten used to, except they'll probably still, this is the dilemma. I think AI is here to stay. So a lot of this AI 2.0, I guess the question is, will it grow rapidly and then mature rapidly? But I think AI 2.0 fits into a newly industrialized United States, because I think that will be very robotic, very high tech, in order for us to compete. So anyway, so what are the themes in there that we can live with? I think it's hard to trade the indices up, but you can if you want to. And I want to show you one thing. What I want to focus on is when this blow off top starts happening as it goes up, and then there's the risk of war and there's the risk of other things. The bond market might lose its patience in all of this, is to buy puts on the indices or buy puts on the banks, for example. Let me show you from, I got to download it, I guess. I think it's here. Yeah, it's there. So Warren Buffett, quiet moves send shockwaves through Wall Street. This is the Daily Hate, July 20th. Famed investor Warren Buffett has quietly executed a series of multi-billion-dollar exits from U.S. banks. So I think one thing to do at the top or near the top, on the way to the top, is we can start buying puts on the banks. That does two things. One is that the banks are probably the ones that are going to be hurt quickly in the crash, but it also exposes us to a silver squeeze, because couple of these banks, Bank of America being one, might be exposed to that. So during the first half of 25, he sold 3 billion shares tied to the banking industry. He's clearly been reducing exposure to U.S. bank stocks. And then everybody's having great years, of course. But anyway, so that's a macro, I can explain it better, I hope. But that's my macro background. My backstop, that's my thesis on the macro background. We're going to have a blow off top that's going to be unlike anything you've ever seen. It's already like that. The news just isn't talking about it. And then I think you're going to have a correction that just scares everybody. It unwinds all the leverage out there, and it threatens the banking system. And so the Fed comes in, so do all the other central banks, and they prop it up. So I guess it could happen all within 9 months or 12 months, but I would think it would take longer, like 18 months, 2 years. But once it gets up to those highs, it's going to begin a period of transition. And I think we probably have it's not going to happen in months. I think we've got 2 or 3 years, probably 4 years, but it's going to start a transition. Real estate will crash and come back up somewhat. But remember, real estate, everybody thinks it's such a great investment, but it's been a baby boomers investment. Everybody has 2 or 3 houses. Some of us have none. And who's going to buy them? I think what's going to happen after the Fed rescues it, it'll save the bankers and a few top people, and then inflation is going to come in. I don't think any of you remember inflation. I do. I remember when I was a kid, but I remember when the price always went up. Not like it is now where it always comes down. Particularly for technology. Anyway, that's the background of it. The reason I bring it up is Railtown, I think, could give you outstanding performance. I mean, it could start tomorrow. It could be August 1. It could be September 1. So I don't quite know the starting point, but I think it's going to give us a big jump on what I would like to try to do. Silver, which I haven't talked about for about 6 weeks because I've tried to get you to solely focus on Railtown. Unfortunately, the easy purchase price of silver is almost over with. The easy purchase price was in the 20s, and I kept saying it, and I've been waiting for something to happen so I could buy it. But it's doubled now. You pay $40 for silver now, and it's all in the news. So I think it's a double. I think silver's a double, but I'm calling for it to triple still. But it's less. There's more volatility in it. I would buy all you can under 50. Once it breaks 52, I don't think you'll ever see below 52 again. You could. Everything, if there's a correction, everything can pull back. Anyway, that's the macro. Then there's Railtown, which I'm skipping over because that's what I'll spend most of my time talking about. But there's also the Railtown, there's the AI 2.0. And let me see if I can find it. Yeah, this is what I wanted to show you. This is, well, let's just see if you can stand, if it's any good to watch.
Global tech giant has been remarkable. Today, around the world, these new high-performance data centers are under construction. They're going to be designed to deliver unprecedented speed and processing power for artificial intelligence applications. So in today's video, we're going to take a look at 15 of the largest data centers currently being built. Let's start with number 15, the Meta AI data center in Louisiana. In a major step for both technology.
Let me put it on a different speed.
Meta, Facebook's parent company, is building its largest AI data center yet
I don't know how to
in
do that.
northeastern Louisiana. It's located on a 2,200-acre site between Rayville and Delhi, and this $10 million project marks a huge leap forward in AI infrastructure, while also delivering a much-needed economic boost to that region. At 4 million square feet, this facility will be one of the largest hyperscale AI data centers in the world. Now, these hyperscale centers are designed to handle massive amounts of data, powering advanced tech like AI training, deep learning, and real-time data analysis. These facilities are going to be crucial for supporting the growing demands of AI-driven innovations, from machine learning to natural language processing. Now, Meta is also focusing on sustainability here, with plans to integrate about 1,500 megawatts of renewable energy into Louisiana's grid in the future. However, the project currently relies on a partnership with Entergy to build 3 natural gas power plants, which will supply energy to the facility for the next 15 years. This has sparked some controversy, with environmental groups raising concerns about the increased use of fossil fuels. Well, Meta's journey from college dorm room to startup in 2004 to a global tech giant has been remarkable. Today, the company is a leader in AI and virtual reality, and this Louisiana facility highlights the immense computing power that's needed to support that digital ecosystem. For Richland Parish, one of Louisiana's most economically struggling areas, this project is a lifeline. With a population of just 20,000 and a heavy reliance on agriculture, this region has long faced high poverty rates and limited job opportunities. This data center is expected to create 500 permanent high-paying jobs and another 1,000 indirect jobs through related economic activity. And during construction, the project is going to employ 5,000 workers, providing a significant short-term boost to the local economy. And Meta is also investing $200 million in local infrastructure, including roads and water systems, to ensure that the project benefits the community as well as the company. Number 14, SDC Austin campus in Texas. The SDC Austin campus in Round Rock, Texas is going to be a groundbreaking leap forward in the data center infrastructure, supercomputing, and sustainable technology sector. Developed by Savvy Data Centers, one of the largest privately owned data center operators in the U.S., this facility is built to meet the growing demands of hyperscale and high-performance computing. These are HPC applications.
I hate
it's
all
a major
these
addition to the global network of
fake
advanced data
pictures.
centers. It's located about 4 miles from downtown Round Rock, and it's about 18 miles from Austin. This 40-acre campus sits on the site of a former Sears call center, now transformed into a cutting-edge data center hub. When fully completed, this campus will feature 2 buildings totaling around 430,000 square feet, with the capacity to support up to 84 megawatts of critical IT power. This first building, completed in mid-2023, is already operational and equipped to handle some of the world's most energy-intensive applications, including liquid-cooled supercomputers. The second building, spanning 105,000 square feet, is going to further expand the capacity for hyperscale and enterprise clients, solidifying this campus as a key tech hub in that region. What sets the SDC Austin campus apart is its ability to support high-density cooling, up to 200 kilowatts per cabinet. This makes it ideal for next-gen supercomputers like Horizon, the largest academic supercomputer in the National Science Foundation's portfolio. Horizon will power open scientific research across multiple fields, showing the campus's role in driving academic and technological innovation. The project was born out of Texas's growing demand for large-scale, high-density computing facilities. In February 2022, the Round Rock City Council approved the project, offering tax incentives in exchange for Savvy's commitment to invest at least $185 million in construction, $500 million in business equipment, and create 20 jobs over 5 years. Number 13, University of Alabama High Performance Computing Center. The University of Alabama is poised to become a leader in advanced computing with the construction of its new high-performance computing and data center. It was approved by the university. This project is set to be complete by late 2026 on the eastern edge of the UA campus in Tuscaloosa. It's designed to house the most powerful computing system in Alabama. The facility is going to aim to enhance research capabilities across the state and beyond. The facility is also going to provide $25 million worth of cutting-edge computing equipment alongside additional infrastructure to support cloud storage solutions. Now, this center is going to serve multiple purposes, primarily supporting research across all campuses of the university. Its computational power will drive advances in key research areas like water resource management, where large-scale systems can be simulated and analyzed, and quantum computing, which will explore new frontiers in secure communications and computational theories. Other key areas include health and medicine, accelerating drug discovery and modeling complex biological systems, transportation, optimizing logistics and developing smart mobility solutions, material science, innovating new materials with enhanced properties, and national security, supporting classified research requiring secure and controlled data processes. The total cost of this project, including the construction and equipment, is estimated to exceed $50 million. Now, while this represents a significant investment, the economic returns are expected to far outweigh the initial expenditure. By enabling this research and fostering partnerships with industry leaders, the HPC Center is projected to stimulate economic development within Alabama, creating new opportunities in technology-driven sectors. Number 12, DataBank data centers. So DataBank's ambitious new project is a 3-story tall, purpose-built data center in Plano, Texas. It's slated to set a new benchmark for scale and capacity. This facility is going to form part of DataBank's broader expansion strategy, now that's driven by record demand for its services and significant investment from major stakeholders. The new data center is being constructed on a 6-acre area adjacent to an existing DataBank facility at Dominion Parkway in Texas. This marks DataBank's first 3-story ground-up data center designed to produce 40 megawatts of power. That's a critical metric reflecting its ability to handle high-density workloads. This vertical construction approach was chosen due to space constraints on the available land, but beyond Plano, DataBank is undertaking 15 additional data center projects in locations like Northern Virginia, Minnesota, Salt Lake City, and Atlanta. DataBank is headquartered in Dallas, Texas, and it operates over 65 data centers across the U.S. The company's expansion is rooted in a strategy to address the growing supply constraints in the U.S. data center market. With the existing facilities in the Dallas-Fort Worth region operating at full capacity, this project is a direct response to the urgent need for additional space and power. Australian Super has invested about $2 billion as part of a $3 billion equity raise to support DataBank's development. This marks a significant move by the Australian fund to capitalize on the growing demand for digital infrastructure. Now, each client typically requires 3 to 9 megawatts of power, which underscores this facility's 40 megawatt capacity as a critical asset. This center is going to house thousands of high-performance servers optimized for AI workloads, cloud services, and enterprise applications. Here's hoping it gives me 60 FPS in Cyberpunk. Number 11, the MGH-PCC. The Massachusetts Green High Performance Computing Center stands as a hub for high-performance computing in Holyoke, Massachusetts. This facility that's connected to the city's municipal fiber grid and powered by renewable energy from the Holyoke Canal system represents a collaborative efforts of 6 prominent universities: Boston University, Harvard, MIT, Northeastern, the University of Massachusetts System, and Yale. Established in 2012, the center has continuously expanded its capacity, and its recent announcement in October of 2024 signals an ambitious leap into quantum computing. This facility has a computing capacity that's going to support hundreds of thousands of processing cores across its clusters. By 2016, one UMass cluster alone featured over 14,376 cores from Intel and AMD and over 1.1 petabytes of storage on a cutting-edge FDR InfiniBand network. Now, this facility has a current size of about 90,000 square feet and room for expansion, with over 4 acres of undeveloped land available. In October, they announced $16 million expansion aimed at developing a quantum computing complex. Now, this project is co-funded by Massachusetts, contributing about $5 million, and Boston-based QEra Computing, which invested about $11 million. QEra plans to deploy its neural atom quantum computer at the center. Now, this is going to mark a milestone in quantum research accessibility for academic institutions. The entire thing was conceived in the late 2000s as a response to the increasing need for centralized high-performance computing facilities in New England. Its founding members recognized the potential of pooling resources to address these large-scale challenges. Holyoke was chosen for its cost-efficient renewable energy infrastructure and proximity to member institutions. This quantum computing is an entirely different paradigm from classical computing. QEra's neutral atom technology relies on rubidium atoms, controlled and manipulated using lasers to serve as qubits. These systems are going to perform calculations leveraging superposition and entanglement, enabling them to solve problems in combinatorial optimization and condensed matter physics that are infeasible for classical systems. Founded in 2018 and rooted in research from MIT and Harvard, the company's current flagship system features 256 qubits, and it operates on Amazon's cloud platform Bracket. QEra specializes in analog quantum computing, but it aims to develop hybrid systems, combining analog and digital. Its research focuses on areas like the Rydberg atoms, optimization problems, and condensed matter physics. Number 10, the Tract Data Center Park. The Tract Data Center Park, located in Buckeye, Arizona, is poised to become one of the largest in the United States. This project spans over 2,000 acres in Maricopa County within the Phoenix metropolitan area. Buckeye, the largest city in Arizona by area, is a strategic choice for this development. Tract is a relatively new player in the data center industry. It's officially launched in 2023. This company is led by Grant Van Rooyen, an experienced leader in digital infrastructure. It specializes in developing large-scale master plan data center parks across the U.S., and they've got a portfolio that includes over 23,000 acres in states like Nevada, Utah, and Virginia. The data center is expected to encompass up to 20 million square feet of data center space distributed across 40 individual facilities. The infrastructure is going to aim to support up to 1.8 gigawatts of power, making it one of the most advanced data center parks globally. The site has been zoned for industrial use, which is going to enable rapid development of data center facilities, and it's designed to accommodate up to that 1.8 gigawatts. The park relies on partnerships with local utilities to meet those energy demands. Additionally, the park's going to be integrated into high-speed fiber optic networks, ensuring low-latency connectivity for this hyperscale computing operation. The Phoenix area is already top-tier data center market, offering favorable conditions such as proximity to major energy infrastructure, a stable climate, and access to high-speed networks. Buckeye's specific advantages include its location near the Palo Verde generating station and other renewable energy initiatives, which will help support the park's immense power requirements. Number 9, the Jupiter Exascale Supercomputer. So Jupiter, joint undertaking pioneer for innovative and transformative exascale research, marks Europe's ambitious entry into the exascale computing era, a transformative milestone in the world of high-performance computing. As the first European exascale computer, Jupiter is set to redefine computational capability. The
project is hosted at the Jülich Supercomputing Center in Germany, a fitting location for a system designed to tackle some of humanity's most complex challenges. The initiative was championed by Euro-HPC Joint Undertaking, and that shows their commitment to leadership in computational innovation. Established in 2018, they laid the groundwork for Jupiter through a comprehensive funding strategy. With a budget of about 273 million euros, the project secured the resources necessary for its goals, and by January 2023, a call for tender initiated the construction phase, and installation of the campus began in early 2024. Now, at its core, Jupiter is a marvel. Its dual module design integrates two distinct computational modules, each optimized for a specific task. The booster module, equipped with nearly 24,000 NVIDIA GPUs, no wonder I can't get a 5090, is engineered for highly scalable, intensive problems such as artificial intelligence training and scientific simulations. To support the architecture, it employs those NVIDIA Mellanox and InfiniBand NDR networking tech, and this high-performance network ensures seamless communication between the modules. Its performance exceeds 1 exaflop. Now that's a scale of power that's almost unimaginable, equivalent to every person on Earth performing 1 calculation per second, continuously for over 4 years, all condensed into a single second. This extraordinary capability is made possible through developed hardware and software. That's an example of the continent's growing expertise in high-performance computing. However, achieving these feats is not going to be without its challenges. Constructing a supercomputer of this magnitude demands intricate planning. Cooling the system, for example, poses a considerable challenge given the heat generated by its components, but to address it, Jupiter incorporates some advanced cooling tech designed to minimize any environmental impact, while also maintaining its efficiency. That's pretty good. Number 8, ALPS Supercomputer. The ALPS Supercomputer, inaugurated in September of 2024, is a high-performance facility located in Switzerland under the Swiss National Supercomputing Center. Funded by the Swiss Confederation through the ETH domain, ALPS is poised to redefine computational capacity. It's going to offer 270 petaflops of processing power. That's equivalent to 270 quadrillion operations per second, ranking 6th on the global top 500 list of supercomputers. CSCS was founded in 1991 with the mission of supporting Switzerland's scientific community through computational services. This project was proposed to address the escalating need for extreme performance, particularly for AI applications in medicine, climate research, and physics. The ALPS system is housed in a purpose-built data center. Now, this facility spans 3 floors, with the lowest dedicated to power distribution, emergency batteries, and water cooling. That cooling system pumps about 460 liters per second from a depth of about 45 meters through a 2-kilometer-long pipeline. The computing system occupies the top floor with an installation area of about 21,000 square feet. ALPS is powered by those NVIDIA Grace Hopper GH200 circuits, which combine about 72 Grace CPUs and 132 Hopper GPUs into a single chip. Yeah, that'll run quick. Each processing node contains 4 GH200 chips in a highly interconnected structure, offering a combined 1.3 million CPU and GPU cores across over 2,600 nodes. Running the ALPS supercomputer requires immense resources. It consumes 10 megawatts of electricity under full load. The annual electricity costs are going to be estimated at $15 million, with total project cost reaching an approximate $100 million. Now, the center's engineers are working closely with researchers to develop software tailored to specific applications, which will enable more efficient utilization of its capability. But ALPS differentiates itself with its cloud-native architecture, which is going to support the creation of software-defined clusters that are tailored to specific user needs. This flexible approach ensures that researchers can maintain confidentiality while maintaining computational efficiency. Moving on to number 7, Amazon data centers in Ohio. Amazon Web Services is currently investing $10 billion to expand its data center in Ohio, signaling an ambitious step towards reshaping the landscape of cloud computing. These centers are poised to be some of the top supercomputer facilities under construction in the U.S., placing Ohio at the forefront of data processing power. These data centers, with the projected completion date in late 2026, will encompass a 590-acre campus in Jeffersonville, Ohio, located in Fayette County. Now, these centers are more than just warehouses for computer equipment. They're going to serve as the backbone for a new wave of cloud computing services, driving innovations in AI and ML, which is machine learning. Each facility is going to house thousands of servers and provide enormous computational capacity, which is critical for everything from running cloud-based applications to processing data for AI algorithms. AWS's existing data center campuses in central Ohio, in places like New Albany, Hilliard, and Dublin, have already established the region as a key player in the data sector. The company's new projects will only deepen that footprint, adding hundreds of megawatts in capacity, including the recent 400-megawatt capacity boost in 2024 alone. The scale and impact of these data centers go beyond just adding more storage space. They're going to be part of a critical infrastructure system that supports both large corporations and smaller businesses around the world. AWS data centers are known for their ability to quickly scale up thanks to their modular design, and when additional capacity is needed, new servers can be added with minimal disruption. This flexibility is crucial as demand for computational power is going to continue to grow, especially as industries such as AI and machine learning require increasingly larger amounts of data. Number 6, Deucalion Supercomputer. The Deucalion Supercomputer, situated in the Minho Advanced Computing Center in Portugal, represents a significant milestone in Europe's high-performance computing landscape. Now, it was officially inaugurated in September of 2023. It's Portugal's most powerful supercomputer and one of the top installations of the Euro-HPC network. It was designed to achieve a peak performance of 10 petaflops, or about 10 million billion calculations per second. It's a key player in advancing research, innovation, and scientific collaboration across Europe. The origins of the center trace back to 2019, when the European High-Performance Computing Joint Undertaking announced plans to establish 8 supercomputers in various European Union locations. These projects aim to bolster the EU's computing capability and its position as a leader in cutting-edge technology. By February 2021, a contract to build this one was signed between Euro-HPC, Portugal's Foundation for Science and Technology, and Fujitsu. Deucalion's architecture sets it apart from other supercomputers in the Euro-HPC network. It features 3 main compute partitions, each tailored to specific workloads. The largest partition utilizes 1632 Fujitsu Prime PC FX700 nodes with ARM v8A architecture processors. Now, this segment alone delivers a peak performance of 5 petaflops, supported by 16 gigabytes of high bandwidth memory per node. The second partition is based on x86 architecture, and it comprises about 500 Atos Bull Sequana X440 nodes equipped with AMD EPYC Rome 7742 processors. The investment here is justified by the broad range of applications that this place supports. Its system is designed to advance research in fields like climate modeling, astrophysics, and artificial intelligence, even personalized medicine and fluid dynamics. This makes it a cornerstone in the European Processor Initiative, which aims to develop energy-efficient microprocessors tailored to European needs. As of mid-2024, this place has already begun making an impact, hosting about 50 research projects, with 20% of them being international collaborations under the Euro-HPC framework. This supercomputer's ability to handle diverse workloads makes it a valuable resource for scientists, innovators, and industries across Europe. Number 5, Leonardo Supercomputer. Leonardo is a pre-exascale supercomputer that stands as one of Europe's most significant achievements in high-performance computing. It's situated in the Bologna Technopole in Italy and is part of the European High-Performance Computing Joint Undertaking. It was inaugurated in November of 2022. Leonardo resides on a campus that was transformed from a mid-20th century tobacco factory into a cutting-edge research and computing hub. The supercomputer is managed by Sinica, a nonprofit consortium of 70 Italian universities, national institutions, and ministries. Now, the system's composed of a Bell Sequana HX2000 supercomputer with approximately 14,000 NVIDIA Ampere GPUs and a 200 gigabit NVIDIA Mellanox HDR InfiniBand interconnect. Now, it's divided into 3 distinct modules. It's optimized for varied high-performance tasks. This module delivers over 240 petaflops. It handles data-intensive workloads like artificial intelligence and machine learning, and it features 1,500 Intel Sapphire Rapid CPUs. Finally, the front-end and service module supports the 2 primary computing modules with storage capabilities of 5 petabytes of high-speed storage and 100 petabytes of capacity storage, ensuring that data processing and retrieval is efficient. Combined, Leonardo can perform 250 petaflops or 250 quadrillion calculations per second. This places it among the top 5 supercomputers globally and the second in Europe as of 2022. Half of all these computational resources are allocated to the European researchers through open calls, making it a shared resource for scientific advancement. Now, this collaborative model is intended to democratize access to high-performance computing. The hopes for it extend beyond these impressive specifications. It's expected to play a pivotal role in addressing global challenges, from improving weather forecasting accuracy to developing renewable energy technology. Leonardo represents a remarkable step forward in Europe's high-performance computing landscape. With its vast processing power, modular design, and wide-ranging applications, it's more than just a supercomputer. It's a critical enabler of progress across disciplines. Number 4, Equinix Hyperscale Data Centers. In October of 2024, Equinix announced a groundbreaking joint venture with Singapore's Sovereign Wealth Fund, GIC, and the Canadian Pension Plan Investment Board to raise over $15 billion. The objective is to expand Equinix's footprint of hyperscale data centers in the U.S., targeting the construction of new facilities and adding over 1.5 gigawatts of capacity. Equinix, already a global leader in digital infrastructure, operates 260 data centers across 71 cities, supporting over 10,000 customers and generating $8 billion in annual revenue. The first U.S. xScale data center will open at Equinix's Silicon Valley campus, with additional facilities planned in strategic locations. Now, these hyperscale data centers, we've talked about them before, they require significant real estate, power, and cooling infrastructure, often necessitating rural or suburban sites where land and energy are more affordable. The scale of these facilities is staggering. Their program aims to achieve 700 megawatts of capacity with an investment of over $7.5 billion when fully built out. To fund that growth, Equinix employs joint ventures, a model in which partners like GIC and PGIM Real Estate own 80% of the equity, while Equinix retains 20%. Building and operating these data centers involves addressing engineering challenges too. These facilities have to be equipped with advanced cooling systems to manage the heat generated by GPU-driven AI workloads. For example, Equinix recently deployed the first hyperscale liquid cooling system, essential for supporting power-dense AI infrastructure. The cost of constructing this data center can reach in the billions of dollars, depending on its size and sophistication. The need for these massive facilities stem from the exponential growth of data and the increasing reliance on AI. Training large language models and other AI systems requires unprecedented computational power, storage, and cooling. And these hyper data centers are uniquely positioned to meet those demands. These centers also support the broader ecosystem of co-location facilities and enterprise networks, ensuring some seamless data movement and connectivity. The impact of Equinix's hyperscale expansion is going to be far-reaching. By tripling its investment in these facilities, Equinix is positioning itself as a key player in the AI and cloud computing revolution. These centers will not only support the operations of tech giants, but also enable enterprises to leverage cutting-edge tech, driving innovation across industries. As AI continues to evolve, the demand for these hyperscale data centers is only going to grow, making them an essential component of this digital economy that we're now entering. Number 3, the Colossus supercomputer in Memphis. In June of 2024, Memphis, Tennessee became the unexpected center of a technological revolution. Elon Musk's artificial intelligence company, XAI, announced the construction of Colossus, a supercomputer designed to be the largest and most powerful AI training platform in the world. Located at 3231 Paul R. Lowry Road on the site of the former Electrolux manufacturing plant, Colossus has quickly transformed from a bold concept to a record-breaking project. Now, the XAI company was founded in August of 2023, and by June of 2024, Memphis had been selected for its flagship project. Over just 90 days, agreements were finalized for the facility, which launched operations in September of 2024. Now, such rapid progress is unusual for a project of this magnitude, reflecting the urgency behind XAI's goals. The first phase of Colossus deployed over 100,000 NVIDIA H100 GPUs, making it a centerpiece for AI model training. By December 2024, the system had already doubled in size to 200,000 GPUs, establishing it as the world's largest supercomputer, according to NVIDIA. The Tennessee Valley Authority's agreement to provide over 100 megawatts of power underscores the immense energy needs of such an operation. Now, the supercomputer's architecture relies on cutting-edge supermicro servers with a network optimized for ultra-low latency and high bandwidth. This ensures that communication between GPUs is critical for parallel processing tasks. The facility also features advanced cooling, of course, to manage the heat generated by its densely packed servers. But unlike many supercomputers designed for academic or public sector research, Colossus is exclusively dedicated to xAI's projects. Its primary function is to train AI models, including Grok 3, a chatbot integrated with X and available to premium subscribers. Additionally, Colossus is expected to train future AI systems with capabilities beyond current technology. But the scale of Colossus allows for the development of models requiring enormous data sets and computational power. This whole thing, Colossus, represents an investment of at least $6 billion, a figure that shows the scale of its ambition. The power consumption is already enormous, with further expansions being more than doubling its current energy requirements, while xAI has added diesel generators to the site. That approach is insufficient for future phases. While the project is backed by Elon Musk, the world's richest person whose resources and influence have allowed xAI to pursue ambitious goals, the company's exclusive focus on proprietary AI models distinguishes it from other supercomputing facilities, which are often shared among multiple users. So as Colossus expands, it's going to face several challenges. The energy requirement of a 1 million GPU system will strain local infrastructure, and questions remain about the sustainability of the operations here. Additionally, the project's reliance on proprietary applications means that its success is tied directly to the fortunes of xAI. Industry experts speculate on whether Musk's massive AI investments will yield long-term benefits or face setbacks in a competitive and rapidly evolving market. Number 2, Atlas Development Data Center Campus. The Atlas Development Data Center Campus. This is an ambitious $17 billion initiative set to become one of the world's largest data centers upon completion. It's located about 45 miles south of Atlanta, Georgia. The project, dubbed Project SAIL, shows a significant leap in global data infrastructure. This 13-building campus, with a combined footprint of nearly 5 million square feet, aims to position Georgia as a key player in the increasingly vital digital economy. The proposed site for this center spans 830 acres near the town of Newark. It's bordered by Wagers Mill Road and Welcome Sergeant Road, and the location was chosen for its proximity to Georgia Power Plant Yates, a gas power station capable of producing over 700 megawatts of energy. Each of the 13 data halls will be 370,000 square feet, housing state-of-the-art computing systems to manage an enormous volume of data. With every facility expected to consume up to 72 megawatts of power, the total energy usage will exceed all of that county's households combined. Now, the scale of this operation shows the importance of the project, but it highlights the infrastructure challenges it presents. The project was officially unveiled in late 2023 through a development of regional impact filing with Georgia's Department of Community Affairs. Now, since then, it's garnered significant attention due to the economic and technological implications. If completed as planned, Project SAIL is projected to generate over $1.6 billion in annual tax revenue for the county and cement the region's role as a data hub. The demand for such a massive facility stems from the growing reliance on our digital infrastructure. As industries ranging from entertainment to healthcare, they adopt cloud computing and artificial intelligence. The need for large-scale data storage and processing has skyrocketed. The $17 billion price tag shows the complexity of such an undertaking. This data center on this scale requires extensive planning, not only to house the hardware, but also to ensure reliable power and cooling systems. Data centers generate immense heat, necessitating advanced cooling solutions. And furthermore, the energy demands of the facility raise questions about sustainability, especially given the environmental concerns surrounding large-scale data centers. The economic impact of Project SAIL does extend beyond its tax contributions. Data centers typically create jobs during construction and require skilled workers for maintenance and operation. However, their long-term employment opportunities are often limited compared to other industries due to the high degree of automation involved. This dichotomy between economic promise and limited job creation has sparked debates about the true benefits of these developments. Critics also point out to the strain that these facilities place on local resources, particularly water and electricity, as reasons for concern. Well, despite the challenges, the significance of Project SAIL can't be overstated. Atlanta has emerged as a major data center hub in recent years, attracting companies like Google, Microsoft, and QTS to the region. This project, with its scale, positions Atlas Development as a key player in that expanding market. Number 1, Stargate project in the U.S. The Stargate project represents one of the most ambitious supercomputer data center initiatives ever conceived. Proposed as a $500 billion joint venture, it's spearheaded by OpenAI, SoftBank, Oracle, and the investment firm MGX. Announced in January of 2025, this venture aims to construct multiple state-of-the-art data centers across the United States, with an initial $100 billion investment already underway. This project's scale, purpose, and implications mark it as a transformative step in artificial intelligence infrastructure. Now, the Stargate project's primary construction effort is currently focused in Abilene, Texas, where 10 data centers are being built. These facilities are expected to be some of the largest in the world, both in physical size and computing capacity. Now, the roots of the Stargate project trace back to 2022 when OpenAI and Microsoft began discussions about building a $100 billion AI supercomputer. As AI systems like ChatGPT demonstrated their transformative potential, the need for dedicated, scalable infrastructure became apparent. The project was formally announced by President Donald Trump on January 21st.
Okay.
Alongside SoftBank's Masayoshi Son.
You almost heard it all. That's from a guy named, You can go to his website there, top fives. You can follow him. But I'm sorry that was long, but I wanted to put you through it. I tried to speed it up just to see what what the change is in the environment for AI 2.0. And that's what makes, to me, that's what makes that's what makes when you combine it with the much faster chips, if you call them that, the GPUs, that's what makes. I want to show you another video, but I'm not going to put you through it right now. That's what makes the background. So the macro, I guess I was trying to give you my background on what I think the stock market's going to do, and we've got to be aware of that. Basically, maybe we have 9 months up and then 9 months down, and then a nice bounce back, and then we get on with the rest of our lives. You know, and the timing of it could be a lot different than that. And then in the macro, in AI 2.0, it's the computational power that has put Railtown in a position. Well, the guys behind Railtown put Railtown in a position to benefit once this computational power became widely available, and it's still being added in, layered in. There's a article, but I can just show you one of the charts on it. This is the CapEx for data centers. You can't read it up there with the number of 27 people watching. The CapEx is for, this is Amazon, Microsoft, Google, and I guess Meta. And the point is they're going to be spending a huge amount of money over the next 2 years and onward on data centers. And we can go over that article in a second. You didn't buy any shares today. All right, I will look that up, but I might not do it while I'm live. Last time I did it, somebody tried to break in to my computer, so I'm not going to do it. I'll see if I can do it over here off, separately. But yeah, I'll look at that. I've got to get my blood work done. Yeah, I think it's just that I had a good doctor. He retired, and then the new guy seemed really good. But then he went on this concierge plan, which I never got. I never got the notice. So you have to pay something like $2,500 a year just to have him as your doctor, and it limits. So now I have an RN in the office. She's very good, but she's not a doctor, but she's very good. I'll see. Well, it seems a little slow tonight. Not very many people on, but that's all right. We'll try to do a little bit so some people listen later. The main reason I'm doing it tonight is for anybody. I've told the story of Railtown so much that I haven't jumped into telling it tonight. I'm sure I will at some point. But tomorrow may be the last day to buy it at 60, 70 cents. I don't know. I do want to show you. So, God, I'm a bit out of it. I want to give you there's a macro background that I'm aware of. We don't have to focus on that right now, but I want you to know that I have a roadmap or a weather map anyway of what's ahead there. I just think now's the time with Railtown that you have a chance, particularly if you bought it at 30 cents, 35 cents, you have a chance of 10xing your money. In fact, most people have doubled their money. And that brings me to the next subject I want to talk about. But I also want to point out, give you, even if you skip fast forward through that video that I just showed you, I want to put it in your head where I'm coming up with that things have changed and that AI 2.0 truly is revolutionary. There's two aspects of it. One is the computational power. The other, right up my alley, energy. There's going to be huge energy opportunities over the next decade. Enough to make you, if we can get this core piece of our portfolio up, we can then make plans to, I think, build wealth, sustainable cash flowing wealth for a long, long time. Railtown should build enough anyway, but where are you going to put it? You're going to put it in government bonds. One guy's calling for bonds to all government bonds to default. Not right away. Be in 10 years. I think that sounds right to me. The planet can't stand this growth. It can't stand this growth. Anyway, let me show you the other thing I want to talk about, just because it's out there. I'm not going to necessarily I'm not going to have comments necessarily on any of them, but I know you're getting, if you're listening to everybody, you're getting these four stocks mentioned to you a lot. Finger, of course, G-Bucks, Quintainment, QNTM, and M10. And it looks like the projections here, you know enough about Finger to make that determination. G-Bucks, I think the short that was trapped, or the shorts that were trapped earlier in the year, probably haven't had time to get out, but I don't know. Or to move, move the trades. And then Quintum, whatever that is, and then this M10. Now they're all going really high, but what I want to let's put a time frame on it. The real question is, do you think Finger's going to do anything in the next 8 weeks or so, 12 weeks? G-Bucks, do you think it's going to do something in that time frame? QNTM, whatever that is, and MTEN, maybe. So I don't claim to know what's going on with any of those. I've decided that I want to move on from the manipulated stocks. Each of those stocks, to a lesser extent with Finger, and if you throw in ZJYL and GDC and a couple of others out there, I can't remember, they're all based on that it's a short squeeze. It's a short story. It's a short squeeze. And I just, if one of those goes soon, and it could, I just want you to know that your position in Railtown has already doubled. And admittedly, I don't know when Railtown is going to finally get that deal done, but it could be tomorrow. It could be a month from now. It could be longer. And if in that time frame, those 4 or 5 or 6 stocks, one of them runs, there's going to be a tendency to view it as, oh, I missed out. I should have done that. I would have, could have, should have. And I should never have owned Rail. This is how they want you thinking. And I'll just make a couple of observations. One, what other short squeeze like AMC, GME, the couple stocks that rallied before, have you ever made money on? I'm not picking on the stories. I'm just saying it's very hard to sell at the right time. And the second thing is, even if one of them works, I'm not, if you get back into that mentality of chasing these stories and becoming as if they care about us, we're going to have access to a deal that they're going to look out for us. You might make money on one, but you lose it on the next. You'll lose it on the next 3. It's very rigged, and I'm hoping that we can pull out of this kind of thing. On the other hand, there could be a lot of money made. I'm just trying to remember all the stories we've heard back when I used to hear them at the same time you did. There seem to be serious people behind each of those stories. So anyway, I won't say much more. I don't want to say anything specific because it's, if you want to play with that, you're probably going to find that I'm not in the future going to be the source of information on any of it. If one of those goes up in the next 2 weeks, I hope everybody makes a killing. But to me, it's a lot like, that guy, that actor. He did the Dow with Steve and Philip Seymour Hoffman. He quit heroin, but then he had to try one more time. I bet he had one more good ride on it. But then it knocked him down. And so most of you already have doubled your money in Railtown. Some haven't. Some have bought in at 50, 60. But I just want you to hang on. I want you to hang on. We'll talk about that. I'm feeling like I'm not doing a great job here. But I bring that up so you guys can ask me questions. I'll be glad to talk about that further. I want to show you, I'm not going to show you this whole video, but I just want to put it in the record why I say what I say about NVIDIA.
4,000 times increase in performance in 6 years. That is extreme Moore's law. Remember, I've said before that AI, NVIDIA has been scaling computing by about 1 million times every 10 years. And we're still on that track. And you heard me say before, The modern computer is an entire data center. The data center is a unit of computing. No longer just a PC, no longer just a server. The entire data center is running one job. And the operating system would change. The revolutionary computer called Hopper came into the world about 3 years ago. And it revolutionized AI as we know it. It became probably the most popular, most well-known computer in the world. In the last several years, we've been working on a new computer to make it possible for us to do inference time scaling, or basically thinking incredibly fast. Because when you think, you're generating a lot of tokens in your head, if you will. You're generating a lot of thoughts, and you iterate in your brain before you produce the answer. So what used to be one-shot AI is now going to be thinking AI, reasoning AI, inference time scaling AI. And that's going to take a lot more computation. And so we created a new system called Grace Blackwell. Grace Blackwell does several things. It has the ability to scale up. Scale up means to turn what is a computer into a giant computer. Scale out is to take a computer and connect many of them together and let the work be done in many different computers.
All right,
Scaling out is easy. Scaling up is incredibly hard.
I'm going to stop it because I've made you listen to so much. But the point is they're making leaps and bounds changes in computational power. And over the next week, we can listen to some of those videos. But that's the basis for this big pouring of money into AI. There is, I got to find it. There's an article out about Morgan Stanley saying that I don't see it. It's the one where I got that chart from. Let me see if I can find it. Just the huge amount of money that is going to be spent on computational power, compute power, as they call it. Yeah, I don't know where I saw that article, so I have to leave it alone. Let me see your comments. There's not a lot to talk about back behind. Well, Kryptonian, let's see what you say. Yeah, you always cry wolf, WULF. I think, Kryptonian, that the thing that's going to happen, I didn't have money. I had my little bit in Railtown, but back in April, and those other 2 or 3 stocks. But when the market crashed, I bet you could have purchased calls on out a few months on the indices for very cheap. When the sentiment was very negative. I didn't even look because I didn't have the capital, but even 5 of those calls, you'd be swimming in nice profits right now. My point is, though, when the markets go up to these highs coming, everyone, all your friends are going to be saying, oh, it's great, it's, tariffs are great, whatever. There's going to be headline after headline of everything. Happy days are here again. And it's at that point we can buy inexpensive puts to give some protection. It's not now, I don't think. Although, Gerald Celente is saying get out now. I think it's he. There's so many. The reason I don't use names is there's so many people talking that if I misquote it, I'll be wrong on. So I'll just take responsibility for what I say. But yeah, there's a lot of people calling for a crash. I don't think it's coming yet. I think the markets are going much, much higher first. There's a lot of money out there still from what was the number? I think the Fed's balance sheet got up to 9 trillion. And so they've been very restrictive under Powell. They've been letting things roll off or reducing their balance sheet. And I think, if I remember, it's now 7 trillion. That's still huge. 7 trillion balance sheet, still huge. So that's probably what Jerome Powell's doing. He wants to reduce that, but it's probably a mistake. It's probably a mistake. But that won't show up until later. I'm not, he's doing the best he can, but it's a very inefficient tool set that he has. Note to self, Railtown is the opportunity, don't diversify. Well, that's what I'm saying, but I also want to say, Eddie, that, look, what happens, Eddie, in every over-the-counter stock out there, and most NASDAQ stocks when they uplist, is you've got these so-called financiers. They're just bird dogs. They're just fronts. Obviously, you got the shorting going on, and then you've got prime brokers who look the other way. You've got market makers who say, "Hey, do you own the stock? Good, you're in then. Sure, great. Nice, thanks for the trade." And then you've got these sweatshops that lever it all up, probably with our own big funds money, and they're always selling. And you know that story. So on that side of it, and the idea that it's, oh, you don't know what you're talking about, it's all computerized, it's algorithms. Well, that's right. It is computerized. It is computerized. But what they do is they use computers to fool other computers, and then to bring us in. They need, the one ingredient they need is us. If it's just a computer talking to another computer, it's not random enough. It's not, the computers know each other. They can tell. But if we come in from all over at different prices, 100 shares here, 5,000 shares there, 10,000 shares there, and the stock starts going up, that starts the feeding frenzy, and everybody in New York makes money on it. Everybody, except for you. And now you're hoping that you're being given information which, frankly, if true, I haven't listened to any of the calls, so I don't know what's being said. But if I can imagine some of the information that would trigger in those various stocks would have to be there's one guy that puts out these really non-convincing reasons to get in these stocks, and it's like he knows something, but he doesn't want to let you know that he knows something. All right, fair enough. I mean, I guess that's one way to do it. I think it's legal. But what it means is, on the long side, a group of fellas have to try to collude and not quite cheat. They got to follow the rules, but they're working something out. On the other side, you got these hordes of day traders and the the cottage industry out of Burroughs Park, the industrialized industry out of Toronto and Germany, to do this shorting and using computers, and you're going up against that. And, just remember Nixie. Nixie tried to get the stock up out of the ditch, I think what you can tell by the volume, in October, I think it was. And then in February, both times it got stopped. I don't know why. I mean, maybe they just decided to stop. It's very expensive. So you've got to, on the long side, you've got to get computers buying algorithmically, just like the shorts are selling algorithmically. And the key ingredient is you. If you put capital in there, they're going to churn through it. And hopefully it catches fire. What you're hoping for is the stock goes up fast enough that it gets out of control on the upside, and then the buy-ins come, and the prime brokers cover at any cost. Well, haven't you seen enough to see that oftentimes the shorts seem to be able to fight back? Now, there were stocks like TKO or something, TOP, HOLO. These kind of stocks went up massively, and every now and then you can get. But I think one of them, I forget which one, HKD maybe, was rumored to be manipulated by Ken Griffin to go up. My point is, your information is 2 or 3 steps removed. Even big boys with a lot of money can't fight endless selling. They'll either give up at some point, or they'll get wiped out. Just having a lot of money doesn't mean you can't lose it. And it's also really expensive. You got to get somebody to pay to gin that all up. So anyway, I just think the odds are highly stacked. How many have we done? 12, 15 we've known about? And yeah, one of them could work. But Railtown can give you, I just showed you that. I think one of the numbers was, I think it said G-Bucks 150. Well, G-Bucks is what, $2? So or maybe more, but let's just say it's $2. So if it did somehow go to 150, that would be 75x. Well, what's Railtown from 60 cents if it's times 75? It's $45. That is my target for Railtown in 18 months. It's steady on. It's not manipulated. Well, does look like there's some shorts in there. But the difference is those other squeeze type plays, I mean, I might be wrong, but I feel like they need us to cause the juice to happen. Unless other buyers come in around the globe, but they need it somewhere. But Railtown, they don't need us. They don't need us buying. And it's just going to take care of itself, and you can get on with your life. Kryptonian is smart. Let's see what he says. The point he drives home during their interview is we're now outside the normal Moore's law. Can we keep up? Yeah, I think about it. China's way ahead of us. But you know what we have? I mean, now we have 20 to 40 million more people to feed and to take care of, but and I guess there aren't going to be that many jobs. But we have water and energy, but we're sending our energy. I don't know why we don't just keep it here on the continent, but we have water and energy, so we can build those plants. Yeah, it's a good question. Can we keep up? It's a really good question. I mean, I imagine these computers, once they're built, these big data centers, it'll break down any advantage that speaking English has, because the computers can do it all. So yeah, it's interesting. I do think, I don't know why my head is pounding right now, so I'm not doing as forceful a job as I normally do, but I do think that that little snippet, what you're talking about, and that little snippet I showed you from NVIDIA, you can go find him. He's all over the place. But it shows that the quantum, the huge leap, like you say, it's outside of it's even faster than Moore's law. And that's the basis for this gigantic jump in AI 2.0. And I've played some videos for you of Railtown and Conductor, and well, it's called Conductor, Lang Tracks, Rail Tracks, and Shredder, and I think they're complementary to these other stories that have been in the news, which is good for us. Hey, Donna. The father of AI, Jensen Huang. Something to keep in mind. SoundHound AI is partnered with NVIDIA. Blackwell Ultra, the Rubin, and the Rubin Ultra. Can I get mine without mayo? Broke even on G-Bucks. Very little problem, Nixie. Yeah, that's you and me both. You and me both. I think I made a tiny bit on G-Bucks, but I think I lost on Nixie. But I just did it. I just ran out of time. SoundHound will be the pioneer of voice technology. You know, when I was younger, I raised money for a company here in DC, and they way ahead of their time. The guy was, I thought it was a great company, but it was like the late 90s. And their slogan was, email is spoken here. And their whole idea, and they had I went to the data centers, and you could, talk to your phone to send a message or send an email to somebody, or you could ask your phone to read your email back to you. Now we just take it for granted, but that was the first company out there doing it, and it got crushed when the dot bomb came, and there was no funding, and everybody got wiped out, including me. I owned a lot of it. But it's really, those are the cycles of technology companies. I'm interested in SoundHound. You've brought it up a couple of times. I'd like to know more about it. I'm going to look up Lovable AI here. Lovable AI. Lovable AI. Lovable develops MVPs, really? Baseball needs it. Needs it. We need more MVPs. Launch your own vision quickly and affordably. I could launch something? What should I launch? Creates apps and websites by chatting with AI. Wow. Reddit. Lovable's pricing is so similar to Bolt.new. Both their free tiers suck and don't give you much. The starter tiers are worth it at $20. Master Lovable AI in 30 minutes. Hey, maybe I can become somebody. I could start a Ask Lovable to create a blog about. Hey, maybe Lovable could do my videos. Oh, there's all sorts of possibilities. I'm not making fun. It's very interesting. But I have a feeling that Railtown is not competing with these guys. Railtown can make their product better. But I might be wrong on that. I can't wait till I can maybe have an interview with somebody that does, and we'll learn about it together. So this is where code meets motion. I love that. I'll look that up, Jason. You seem to know a lot. All right. I'm not going to torture you with that. There is one other video I want to show you, but I'll do that. I'll do it after one of those stocks goes up. So you guys are all rolling in money. I like that Lovable, but it's a develop.dev, and that's the whole thing. You're going to see a lot of companies come out, and 90% of them won't survive. There'll be a bubble and then come down. But the ones that do survive, they're going to be massive. It's 9:30. Maybe I won't go too much longer. I'm running out of steam. I never had much steam to start with, did I? Tulsi Gabbard is releasing Russellgate files. The desperation to stop Trump wasn't political, it was survival. That sounds interesting. This goes to David. From North America to Australia, migrant truckers are fueling a highway safety crisis. It's just not fair. Israel orders evacuations in central Gaza. Yeah. Widening military offensive. There's no military in Gaza. They're just slaughtering people. If you call it a military offensive, that's better than saying we're going in and murdering people. Yeah, but you still are murdering people. All right, so Vishwanath Terapatur, global head of quant strategy at Morgan Stanley, says that the Morgan Stanley's shocking math, paying for AI CapEx will require over $1 trillion in new debt by 2008. Gen AI and technology diffusion is rapidly reshaping the global economy. That's Gen AI and technology diffusion. and it remains a key theme for stock markets across the sectors and geographies. Its transformative potential hinges on a substantial capital expenditure with data centers at its core. I just showed you that. Data centers at its core. I know that tested your patience. We forecast, this is Morgan Stanley, we forecast roughly $2.9 trillion of global data center spend. If you want that in English, we forecast roughly $2.9 trillion of spending on global data centers through 2008, comprising 1.6 trillion on hardware, chips and servers. So that's why NVIDIA and AMD and the rest, and 1.3 trillion on building data centers. Do you hear that? 1.3 trillion on building data centers through 2028. On an annual basis, this translates into investment needs of $900 billion in 2028. For context, the total CapEx spending of all companies in the S&P 500 index combined was about $950 billion in 2024. Wow. Such large potential spending has significant macro consequences as well. How can we afford it? We've got to protect our dear friend Israel. We got to spend trillions on bombing deserts and assaulting mountains and murdering Arabs. They all grow up to be terrorists. We got to spend trillions over in the Middle East. We can't afford this. Let China get ahead on AI. We got to go support 6 million, 8 million of the most unpleasant people, never satisfied, always need more space. Lebensraum they need. They need everybody else's wealth in the Middle East. I'm talking about everybody else's oil, everybody else's land and water. They can't live with what they're given. Unbelievable. 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 If we weren't in those wars for the last 20 years, we could have these we'd have the money for these data centers. We'd have money for bridges and roads and education and healthcare. Everyone in that bloody country gets free healthcare and free education in Israel. Do you? Time to cut them loose. Cut them loose. We need the money for this. I guess it doesn't bother, it just bothers me. We could be building our powerful economy here, and instead we squander resources protecting that fatter prime minister. Our economists expect that investment spending related to data center construction and power generation will add up to 40 bips to U.S. real GDP growth between 2025 and 2026. By any measure, the capital requirements to support this level of investment are staggering. So let's just go squander it in endless wars, endless useless wars instead. The capital requirements are staggering, and mobilizing efficiency and scalable capital becomes increasingly critical. credit markets, secured, unsecured, and securitized in both public and private markets, will play a growing role in financing data centers. All right. Do you have to be an analyst, global head of quant strategy at Morgan Stanley to figure that one out? To be clear, CapEx related to AI and data centers has been in motion for the last few years. Spending from the hyperscalers alone has gone from 125 billion 2 years ago to 200 billion in 24, and the consensus expectation is it exceeds 300 billion in 2025. Internal operating cash flows from the hyperscalers have been the source of this spending. However, our equity analysts expect the investment needs for data centers to rise sharply over the next few years. While cash flows from hyperscalers will remain a key source of capital to finance data centers spending, we think these alone will no longer be adequate after accounting for cash build and shareholder capital returns. Leveraging our equity analyst projections, we estimate that 1.4 trillion of hyperscaler CapEx may be self-funded with cash flows, leaving a sizable $1.5 trillion financing gap. Hey, we got to borrow that money. We got to go bomb Iran and bomb Syria, bomb Gaza. We've got to bomb Yemen. We got to bomb Moscow. We got to protect our friend Netanyahu. We don't have this kind of money for the future of America. We got to make Israel great again. God rend them asunder. But we have to act like God and make Israel great again. Screw the United States. We think that credit markets, broadly defined to encompass both public and private markets of different flavors, will gain traction as more efficient providers of capital to bridge this gap. What a useless sentence. There is a favorable alignment of significant and growing dry powder across credit markets with attractive real yields on offer, with appeal to a sticky end investor base. Must be good to be the quant. Insurance, sovereign wealth funds, pension funds, endowment, high net worth retail are all looking for scalable, high-quality asset exposures that can provide diversification benefits. We think this alignment of needs of capital investment will pave the way for bridging the $1.5 trillion financing gap. We size the different financing channels as follows. Unsecured corporate debt issuance from issuers in the technology sector, 200 billion. Securitized markets in the form of data centers, asset-backed securities, 150 billion. Private credit markets, 800 billion. Sovereign private equity, venture capital, and bank lending, 350 billion. All right, this is a pointless article, except that it's huge. The point we want to drive home is that credit markets will play a major role in enabling AI-driven technology diffusion. Well, you could have said that in one sentence. There'll always be winners and losers. But anyway, the point is the amount of money being spent on AI and data centers is truly enormous. And that is one of the essential parts of my strong thesis that AI 2.0 is where to be. Nearly 1,000 killed in clashes in Syria's south, with 80,000 people displaced. But you know what? They're not God's chosen people, so who gives a crap? It's just 1,000 Christians and Arabs. Who cares? Got to look out for God's chosen people from Brooklyn, parts of Eastern Europe, and not very many from Ethiopia. We don't like darkies in Israel. We just like whites. Unbelievable. Why? How long are people going to let this keep going on? According to Syria's health ministry, the death toll is now 260. An estimated 80,000 people have fled the area. People are suffering, even those who have been killed or forced to flee. They don't have electricity, they don't have water. But hey, who cares? As long as Netanyahu can fly over here and get 3 suitcases full of dry cleaning done on the taxpayer. Father Tony Boutros, representative of the Greek Catholic Church in Svida, Syria, makes an appeal to the international community to save Christians and Druze from an Islamist genocide. Oh, is he saying that the Arabs are killing him? Maybe I got it wrong. I may have it wrong. I know Netanyahu is attacking southern Syria, but maybe this is different. So I apologize to Netanyahu. Maybe it's that people see Netanyahu's expansionist divide and rule policies at work. So he's involved. Anyway, I better not talk about something I don't know the facts. All right, so I'm not going to go more than 15 minutes longer, and I might not make it that far. Okay, here's I subscribe to this guy, QTR's Fringe Finance. Markets melt up, trust melts down. I think markets are going much higher. Markets keep this is Quoth the Raven, QTR Fringe Finance. Markets keep ripping higher. Metals are flashing red on better than expected inflation that's still running way too hot at 2.7%. And trust in the system from Wall Street to Washington is quietly falling apart. Earlier in the week, Trump's big, beautiful bill, which despite the branding is pure inflationary grift, subsidies, tax breaks, and spending dressed up as nationalism. It's a deficit-funded populism that punishes savers and pushes prices higher. I don't know. I think China's in the middle of a deflation, and maybe we shouldn't be so ready to assume that we're not going to have our own collapse in asset prices. Commodities are already reacting, but the CPI hasn't caught up. It will. What's this? The passive bid crash awaits. I think that's the automatic reinvesting. Markets are being held up by systematic automated inflows, 401ks, target date funds, ETFs. And that structure is more fragile than people think. When job numbers crack or redemptions accelerate, the forced selling could be catastrophic. I think that's right. The system is quietly leveraged, and most investors have no idea. That's why I think it's going to crash so much. It's on autopilot, and once people panic, it'll be frightening. Yeah, all right. He's trying to get me to subscribe. I'm already a subscriber, but it doesn't let me in. So we won't talk about it. He's pretty good. He writes a lot of stuff. Hey, you can't trust Trump. Trump and truth are oxymoronic. But here's Hillary Clinton. Texts and emails indicate the Hillary Clinton campaign directly coordinated with Obama White House to launch Trump-Russia hoax. Well, you can trust Hillary. You can trust her. Uh-oh. I think I'll drive to the conference. A Delta Connection Embraer E175 regional jet executed a sudden aggressive maneuver during its final approach to avoid a near-fatal mid-air crash with a U.S. Air Force B-52 bomber. Is that one of the all-female flight crews? Wow. All right, let's see what you're saying. Not much, I don't think. Oh, there's some more question, some more, but I might just, data centers are a nightmare for the community. Yeah, there's some out in Northern Virginia, they're huge. I find it insulting that you're talking about Israel like they aren't being provoked. You have no idea, and neither do I. What is going over out there? I can do without it. All right. They're not being provoked, Donna. They're not being provoked. I don't know, Donna, your views on what happened, I don't know, 80 years ago. There were a lot of people silent, and so a lot of people died. And I guess you're right. I don't need to talk about it. I can just be silent and just ignore it. But Well, I'm not going to win bringing up examples or anything because it's not in the news too much here. So you're not gonna agree with it. But Israel is murdering and killing people in Gaza Strip on a scale that has not been seen in European countries, colonial countries since, I don't know, maybe we did it with the Indians, the Australians did it with the Aborigines, but there's children starving. There's children that have no water. They have no hospitals, no place to sleep. There's an Israeli soldier that brags he shot 12 children. I mean, it's really awful. It's very evil, Donna. And but you're right. I don't know. I guess if you assume that Israel had a right to drive I won't even be provocative. I won't even call them Palestinians. Local people who had farms, olive groves, towns. If Israel had a right 80 years ago to invade and kill and destroy 1,000-year-old olive trees and wipe out cities and send entire populations in flight, if they had a right to do that, then you're correct. Now they're being provoked. You're right. I guess you're right. They're being provoked. It's a separate, I don't know how we afford it, Donna. You look like maybe you've been, I don't know if you voted for George W. Bush or Bill Clinton or Obama. I certainly did not vote for George W. Bush. So I voted Bill Clinton, Al Gore, John Kerry, Obama, and I don't think George Bush won either one of those elections, but it was really expensive. Those wars are really expensive, Donna. I guess we'll just feel good that Israel's being provoked. So we spent $20 trillion in the Middle East. It didn't help us at all, but I'm not sure it's helping Israel either. I really don't think it's helping Israel, but yeah. I guess I'll leave it at that. Yeah, you're right. Israel was being provoked. So, and I don't know. They have every right to defend themselves. And anything they do, they have a right to do. When is finger going to squeeze? I can't hold much longer. Well, just pull on this one. Just pull on this one. Finger's not going to squeeze. Finger's not going to squeeze. Finger is not going to squeeze. And I'm not a fan of. Now I don't know what you do with finger because it's at a level where if you're truly an investor, you might want to hold it longer term or buy more. But I think it's very risky for finger over the next 6 months. I can see a situation where if you squint really hard, you can imagine they're going to have big revenues from that C2 contract, and that might show up in the first quarter. But right now, I have no evidence of that. There's no information. So Phil, the problem with Finger, to me, is some point they're going to have to raise money. Have you found that they raise money above market ever? Anyway, I think Finger has a good long-term story. It's just the next 6 months. I think they can do it, by the way. I think they can do. I've said it before. They've got a good team and the good investors behind it. But Phil, if you're here trying to get me to say it's going to squeeze, I don't think Finger will ever squeeze, ever. Now there's, there's people that disagree with me, and you can go listen to them. But I don't think Finger's ever going to squeeze. I don't think GME or AMC are going to squeeze either. A lot of it has to do with the fact that so much time's gone by. I think they've been able to move things around and bury a lot of trades offshore, out of the United States. So I just don't see it. I've been told I have my head up my ass about it, and maybe I'm wrong, so maybe I am wrong. But I don't see Finger squeezing. The last 2 times it ran up, the system came in with strategies that drove it down, and why would you think they wouldn't be effective doing that again? I don't know. But Phil, I don't think it's going to squeeze. There'll never be peace in the Middle East as long as I've been alive. I don't see it changing ever. Well, I think that's a true statement. There hasn't been peace there. And that's true. I'm just not sure that we would want to test ourselves against that measure. I think in our lifetime there hasn't been peace. I don't recall any period of my life where the United States hasn't been at war somewhere. I mean, I guess when I was, I don't know, I kind of remember I was a boy, the panic of the Cuban Missile Crisis, kind of. And maybe after that there wasn't any war, but there were all those other things. But then Vietnam was major, and it kept going and going and going. And anyway, I guess people just can't live in peace. But I don't. I don't take from the fact that there's never been peace and there never will be, that gives Israel a right to kill 400,000 people and put 2 million people in flight. That's called genocide. And nobody knows the exact numbers, but the Palestinian population in Gaza was something like 2.4 million. Now they talk about just under 2 million. So where'd the people go? They're not allowed to leave. It's August. It's hot. There's no air conditioning, no water, no. I don't know. Years from now, if there's a history, people will look back, historians will look back on the United States of America, just like historians look back on the people of Germany. How could they not know? How could they, the bones were up in the sky filtering down like snow, the ashes, how could they not know what was going on? And look the other way, and we're looking the other way to our, I think, historically, to our eternal shame. But I think it's going to have, Donna, and I get worked up about it, but I think on a financial side, on a geopolitical side, on a can we keep ignoring it side, for our own lives here in North America, it's going to change. I think it already has permanently changed. I accept that here in the United States, we don't see it. But around the world, the scales have been lifted off of people's eyes, and they see that the United States and Israel are together committing genocide. And that, I know that has a political side. You don't need to hear that, but the other side of it, financially, and from a soft power standpoint, even a strong, military power, it has a huge impact on the U.S.'s standing in the world and Europe's. In my judgment, I guess I could be wrong. I guess we could bomb the rest of the world into submission so that they believe that what we're doing in Israel is good, but what we're doing is not good. It's just not good. And we would have such an easier time with our dollar, with our debt, with our trade deals, if we would just stop talking and listening to these, what do you call them, neocons. It's terrible. Netanyahu comes into town, and the next thing you know, Trump's sending missiles to Ukraine, and apparently some of them are long range. But I was listening today, Donna, they're sending equipment to Israel so Israel can build these anti-defense missiles. And apparently they only assemble or build 50 a year. They cost something like $3 or $4 million each. And they use 2 of them per missile Iran sent. And we don't have the capability to make that. We don't have the money. I just don't see the logic, regardless of whether you don't agree with me, that's fine. I just don't know how we can afford it. Let's just take the morality out of it. Hey, it's okay. Palestinians provoked it. Leaving aside that how the heck the most sophisticated military in the world left a little gap in that wall. One Israeli soldier, a woman, she said, a cat couldn't cross that wall without all the alarms going off. I mean, there's a theory that Netanyahu let that happen, just like FDR. There's theories about FDR with Pearl Harbor. So who knows? We'll have to wait for history on that. But 1,200 people were killed on October 7th. Horrible, horrible. But apparently, again, according to Israeli sources, half or nearly half of those people killed were killed by Israelis in their crossfire. They have a name for it. I forget the name for it. But they just shoot back and you ignore civilians, so you get the terrorists. And so, yeah, all right, they were provoked. Let's say 1,000 people were killed on that day, which is terrible. When does the killing stop? I mean, the entire infrastructure of Gaza Strip has been obliterated. Do you know that Jared Kushner raised $2 billion from the Saudis for a fund to invest in Israel? Where do you, I don't know where he's going to put it, but I think he has his eyes on Gaza Strip. There's oil and gas there. There's the beach. Get rid of these nasty smelling Arabs. Ugh. Who wants Arabs around? They're weird. They pray to Allah. And there's Christians there too. There's the original, the descendants of the original Christians who walked, they weren't called that then. They were Jews then, but they walked with Christ. They're there, but oh, they're gross too. This belongs to Jared Kushner. I don't know, Donna. I appreciate that you rightly point out that there's no way to know everything. A lot of it's hidden, but just the core of it, how can we afford it anymore? You know, when George W. Bush came into office, Bill Clinton and that other Newt Gingrich, who I just think he was the worst thing that ever happened to politics. He takes the credit. It might be because Hillary's health care bill failed. So Bill Clinton made deals, and we had a positive budget. But you know what? The bond markets didn't like that. The banks didn't like that. So they engineered, I think it's pretty clear in retrospect, they engineered an election. And George Bush came in and gave people their money back. I forget what it was, $3 trillion, 3.2 trillion. I don't quite remember. But when Carter left office, I think there was 800 billion in debt. When Reagan left office, I think it was 2 or 3 trillion. When George H.W. Bush left, it might have been around that too. I can't remember. Bill Clinton, I'm not sure. I think it went up a bit, but I don't think it went up a lot. But then in comes George W., and he gives a huge swath of capital back. And then he launches endless wars. And I'm ignoring people. Hey, it's right. I mean, Abu Ghraib, however you say it, Abu Ghraib, all the rendering and killing, dropping bombs that out of the sky, that's not terrorism on civilians. And I'm not ignoring all that because it's always been war in the Middle East. Why don't we just get a few blows in too? It's fine. I mean, we can't change anything. Let's just go over and join in. We can't change it. But in the span of George Bush's administration and then Barack Obama, the only president who we were at war for every single day of 2 terms, the only president. And he bombed so much in the Middle East that we ran out of bombs several times, at least twice. And then he, although I think it was Hillary Clinton, but he was president, he turned Libya into a failed state where and forget about men. I mean, forget about men. Men are the assholes of the world. Women are sold into slavery, and little boys and girls are sold into slavery because of American policies in Libya. Libya was a viable country that didn't run the way we wanted it to. But why do we get to say? But yeah, you're right. There's always been war in the Middle East, so it's never going to stop. But then why should we have spent over the last 20 years I think it's at least, I don't know if it's quite 20 trillion. The problem is we spent a lot that we still owe, like healthcare and interest on the debt and rebuilding some of the other costs. But we spent trillions of dollars. I would put it in the 8 to 12 trillion range in the Middle East, Donna. What did we get for it? I don't know. We assuage our conscience that we stand by Israel because they were provoked. 12, I wouldn't be surprised if it's $20 trillion. And now we're so close to World War III. Netanyahu came here, and the next thing you know, Trump is giving ultimatums to Putin. 50 days. You don't remember that he gave an ultimatum to Iran 30 days and Iran didn't listen, so he bombed the hell out of it. I told him 30 days. Well, that seems to have worked out, although I don't think that's over with yet, because Israel's not stopping. Israel's not stopping. They never are satisfied, ever. They never will be until they take everything from the river, the Nile, all the way to the Euphrates, and then deep into Saudi Arabia, and they get, that's Greater Israel. And once they get that, I doubt they'll be satisfied with that. There's more to conquer. But why are we supporting it? Because there's always war? They were provoked? I don't know. They're not the good guys. Israel's not the good guys. And we used to be. We used to be. But anyway, as you correctly point out, Donna, I shouldn't go off into the morality of it. So let's assume that it's perfectly fine to starve 1 million Palestinian children to death. Let's assume that. That's fine. And let's assume that in response, other countries like Iran and Yemen and the pussies in Saudi Arabia and Qatar do nothing. And Egypt does nothing. But anyway, let's say it's just Iran and Yemen that do anything. But we should defend Israel. So we need to launch a war against Iran, a huge country. We don't have troops. They have better weaponry than we do. So does the Soviet Union. So does the Soviet Union. But we should launch war there so Israel can pursue its Lebensraum. I don't know. I can't help but put my moral views in it. But Donna, just trying as hard as I possibly can to look at it financially, what does the United States get out of it? What the hell do we get out of it? We go into more and more debt. In the United States, we don't have health care. Young people can't afford homes. People have student loan debt they can't pay out. In Israel, it's free. That's all free. Healthcare, education, all free. And we subsidize Israel. And in reward, I know they don't pick the fights. They're provoked. I get it. I get it. Why don't they just move to Brooklyn or Arizona? Get the hell out. If it's a bad neighborhood, get out. Why do they have to kick everybody else out? Well, I guess it's because God gave it to them. I guess that's it. God gave it to them. But then God let it go. God let them get conquered a lot. I mean, if you want to, there's a lot of things God gave mankind that were taken by people. War has consequences, but you got to erase it after 3,000. I don't know. I don't see. I always go into the moral questions and try to think it out. The core is, Donna, what did we get for 10, 15, 20 trillion dollars that we've spent on endless wars since George W. Bush, Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, I guess it was Trump next, and then Biden. What have we gotten out of it, Donna? And you don't think there's going to be consequences for it? The rest of the world is already lining up with more honest dealers. Amazing. Russia, Iran, really? But people don't see us as trustworthy because we're hijacked by this guy. Or maybe he's our guy and this is our policy. But anyway, Donna, I think it's going to take us down. And it's going to have an impact on our life in North America. In your lifetime and my lifetime, we have had the benefit of enormous military advantage, huge financial advantage, financial markets, and we're just in the last stages. I guess it happens everywhere. We're in the last stages of 80 years, really, since that war, 90, of just ever expanding growth for the United States. We came out of World War II preeminent, and we pretty much stayed there. And one of the keys was the dollar is the world's reserve currency. And we linked it with oil, and it's our banking system. And I guess you're right. Probably you're right that if it weren't Israel, it would be something else that would take us down. It's going to be really hard to fix what we're in. I would love it if we could face the rest of the world and they believed us and we stood for what we have always stood for. But instead, we're going to take the position of the most hated colonial powers in the world. And it's a tragedy. It really is a tragedy. We're even today, with all that's going on in the world, I don't think there's another country people would rather live in than here. I don't think there's another country people would rather invest in than here. And I don't think there's another country where people see great upside to their future other than here. But we're squandering it. This 20 years, man. And I just think we got to stop. But I guess if we keep giving money to Israel, if we keep letting them, I guess they'll just clean out Gaza Strip. We'll just obliterate 2.4 million people. Maybe they'll move, maybe they'll be dead, but who cares about them? They're just Christians and Arabs and Muslims. Yeah. Ugh. Who cares about them? And then Jared Kushner can build his resort and other Arabs can come buy property there. I guess that's one solution to Gaza Strip. But then what do you do about Lebanon? That's not secure. We need to go up into Lebanon and but probably need to keep pushing up there because it's all urban. And if we stop, they're going to build, they're going to dig in under hot. We better just go all the way, just take Lebanon. Syria, if we don't take it, someone else will, and Syria has oil, and we don't want Iran taking it and Iraq taking any of it. So we better just go now into Syria and the Western Bank. Even though Palestinians have lived there we better go knock them out of those homes because that's a threat to our security. So let's go take that. All right, that's great. So we're going to wipe out Gaza Strip, wipe out the West Bank, take over Syria, or as much of it as we can, and probably have to get Lebanon. And that should do it, shouldn't it? Well, what about Jordan? Oh my God, Jordan's full of Palestinians and Arabs. We better go down into Jordan. If we stop there, we'd be vulnerable to the Saudis. And we gotta, we better go build a buffer zone. It never stops, Donna. It just never stops. And I don't think more that we spend is ever going to change that. So, but I don't know. I guess it's okay to keep spending on Israel. Maybe it's not that much money. Apparently it's something like $50 billion a year, but I don't think that tallies up the costs of the wars we've gone into in the Middle East because, and I guess you could argue has nothing to do with Israel. It's just the big game where we're trying to take the role of Britain and put Shia against Sunni and trying to divide. And I mean, ultimately, Don, I think it's our banks. I really, I get worked up on the morality of it, but banks aren't moral. It's all about money. And I think the banks want the collateral. It's not that they have to own the collateral. If you get Putin out and you get the Ayatollah out and you get some softy like the King of Jordan or I'm trying to think of that other guy's name. Anyway, some egoist to run the country, then the banks can come in and lend money and use the oil fields as collateral for the loans. And then that collateral comes into the system. And our banking system is run out of collateral. And I think, and maybe you're right, it has nothing to do with Israel. Maybe it's just that we want our banks to lend money to Iran for development. We want our banks to lend money to BlackRock to develop Gaza Strip. It's all about getting more collateral. And I think that's really what's going on. So maybe I don't have to talk about the morality. I mean, after all, they're just Arabs. I mean, they don't look like us, but they do. They do. But if we leave the morality out, maybe you're right. Maybe it's just the banking system. I just don't see how it helps what's coming. And anyway, to reiterate, Donna, I see an opportunity for us to make money in Railtown. And that's with the backdrop of the stock market soaring to new highs. And I do think the dollar will remain the world's currency, reserve currency for a few more years. And I guess, Donna, that you're right. There's nothing that can be really done about either thing. The financial markets are going to crash. The banking system is going to crash. It's going to be a slow roll. So maybe there's nothing to do about it. So maybe you have a good point. Just don't do anything. Don't say anything. And hope God forgives us. Yeah, I guess they have been provoked. I guess they have been provoked. Yeah, Donna, I'm sure. I just saw you said I don't know what you're saying. I'm sure that's right because I'm going on and on and on, and you get to type about 2 sentences. So I'll agree with that. I don't know what you're saying. I've misinterpreted what you're saying, or I don't understand it. I don't mean to offend you. It's not a lecture to you. It's not a lecture to you. I guess I just got to keep it to myself. I love what the United States is doing in Israel, in the Middle East, and I think Putin's a terrible man. He invaded the Ukraine, and let's just leave it at that. I don't know. Let's just focus on making money. Everybody else does. Yeah, I don't know. It's a complicated issue. And I'm probably wrong, Donna, by the way. I'm not saying I'm right. Finger is not squeezing anytime soon. Shen even said the shorts will take care of themselves. Finger needs to turn profitable. Ham has been full of rumors sometime. So Ham was lying after all? I don't know, Phil. I think Ham has worked very diligently on behalf of Finger and Finger shareholders. And there were, by my count, at least 2 times, maybe 3 times, people could have sold out of Finger. I also think, I mean, you're right. He may have given 2 messages, but every time that stock went up, he said you have to take some of your money off the table. At least that's my memory. But, you know, a guy like me, when it went up, I really believed it was going to, early on, I really believed it was going to squeeze. So I didn't. And, that's a lesson learned. But that doesn't mean he was lying. I don't know. It's not in my, I don't know. You'd have to ask him. Do you think the dividend will expose the shorts with Finger? No, I don't. Ham thinks it will. I would respectfully say that Wall Street has changed since he was on a desk and I was on a desk, or however you want to phrase it, Wall Street has changed. The key change is what? Everything's computerized. There are no trading desks and there's no compliance per se. So if you get approval, and it probably takes an attorney to sign something, to trade the stock, it's probably not going to be revisited. It's all automatic. And if you're a good client, it's probably not going to be revisited. I do think Finger was squeezing, and that's why I have a hard time saying there was any, I don't know. But I think Finger was squeezing 2 years ago, and GTII. But the system came up with an answer to it. And I guess the other big change is no one cares. No one cares. We used to have to follow the rules, and I think most Wall Streeters do follow the rules, and compliance is very strict. But that's on the long side. On this little area of the business, I just don't think anyone cares. And it's a tragedy. It's as bad as the issue that I just got buried in a few moments ago, because our country can't raise money for small companies anymore. You can't do it. Healthcare, energy, new inventions, batteries, new ideas, new technologies, new teams. We can't do it anymore. It's like we have a big hole in our financial markets. All of the money goes to a few guys in New York, maybe in Florida, but certainly up in Toronto, over in Germany, and elsewhere. And it's trillions of dollars. It's just as bad as me talking about the Middle East. It's another huge drain on taxpayers and Americans. And it gets me just as upset. And that's not about killing or Palestinians or anything. That's just about stealing. And I guess it's multifaceted. But for me, the biggest change that makes it difficult for a squeeze to occur is it's legal. Not colluding, not marking your ticket long when it's short, or marking it long when you don't own the shares, not selling stock you don't have. But everybody looks the other way. They all look the other way on that. It's like, everybody looking at the other way when the cool kids bring cocaine into a party, and everyone just looks, no one, nothing happens. It's against the law, but nothing happens. And I can get morally outraged about that too. But Donna's right. It doesn't help. I don't know all the facts, and it doesn't help to talk about it. The big thing is it's legal, Danny, to put in customers' accounts entitlements. It's legal because the UCC Section 8 was changed in 1994, which is Bill Clinton. It's legal for your brokerage firm to take your money, confirm that you purchased a stock, and then put into your account an entitlement. Now, they put it in there and it says you own the stock. And as long as the markets are bubbling along, all they worry about is when you come to sell that stock, that next trade, either if they have to fulfill it, that they cover, they cover any short, or it's just rolled into the new firm. And everyone, eventually, I think all of Wall Street has gotten comfortable with carrying all these extra shares because they lend them out. So anyway, Danny, there are rules, and it is expensive. But if you can get the prime broker to lend the shares, the trading lending desk to lend the shares, and maybe it also comes out of the brokerage house too. But the stock loan desk, if they will lend the shares, and they'll do it over and over and over again. And Goldman Sachs created the F3 button. When you run out of stock, you just hit it. Well, suddenly there's more shares. What happened with the change of the UCC rule is in the moment, in the heat of the moment, the person making the decision at a brokerage firm can decide, yeah, just do it. We don't. You're asking them to enforce rules that might cause billions of dollars of losses. So they just say, no, just fill the trade and we'll sort it out later. And later never comes usually because the whole system is electronic now. Nobody demands their shares out of the electronic system because it's all electronic. So there's never a run on the bank, ever. What happened with GME and AMC probably was a raid, much like what happened, I guess it was HKD. I can't remember the one that Ken Griffin reportedly, who knows, juiced it up so to save one of his funds. But there was a momentum that happened with GME and AMC that could just be a lot of people sitting at home and getting the pandemic money. And the computers never could have predicted that. And then it gets out of hand and it feeds on itself. But, they bailed it out. They bailed it out. A lot of people didn't sell in that, and they bailed that out. And they've made it all back since. I was surprised the other day talking about GME. I didn't realize now they've got it up to $10 or $11 a share. So that guy Cohen is building a company for himself. I think it's been an insane investment just to hold on to. It's been a good trade. It's given you every time it comes back into the 20s, eventually gives you a run up to sell out and then wait for it to come back, but people don't do that. My point is, some percentage of what they do, I don't know what number to give it, is legal. As long as you have a prime broker that's lending the stock to you, that stuffing your accounts with entitlements is legal. The other parts are not. But if you take that case into court, I don't know many lawyers that are, it's just. Now, Wes Christian has done a lot of work on it, and I bet from a legal standpoint, he would disagree with me. But once things go into the legal system, that you're not making financial decisions anymore, and it just takes time. And the criminals love time; they love it. It's just what they want. It's just what they want. No, I don't think the dividend will expose them. But I think, it's what's weird, Danny. It did before. I think it did before. Like, was that 2 Novembers ago or was that 3? Finger motion, they were, or am I confusing it with GT? Let me just think a minute. Is that what was happening with GTII? I think it was finger motion. They had those warrants at 275. And the stock was up, and Fidelity was in trouble, and Wells Fargo was in trouble. Now, Cindy Lou Who gets mad at me when I point out that the system brought in these 3 guys. Well, they may not have known what they were doing, but there's no question that when everyone raced to go into COSM, Finger no longer was in trouble. And I watched whoever Lynn Partner's client is, I watched 100 million shares approximately get sold in 2 weeks. So my point is that the system has a way to stop these things. In that case, we could argue you're blaming it on a dead man, all right. Or we could argue we did it to ourselves, all right. Or, it might have worked if we'd gone over to COSM and they hadn't done a deal like they said they weren't going to do with a toxic group, and COSM had actually gone up, we could have sold there, come back and made Finger run. I mean, there's a lot of what ifs, but I think the basic thing you have to understand is the system seems to be able to stop squeezes when they focus on it. In the case of GME and AMC, I think that was literally, I don't know, trillions of dollars coming into the financial system in one big flood. And that might have just, I don't, maybe that's why those went up. There's been some squeezes that have worked. There were about 10, 20 of them. I studied them all. And yeah, maybe you're right. They could they could make the dividend somehow work in Finger. The one to watch now is probably G-Bucks to see if that dividend works there. I know from GTII and then MMTLP, most people don't report. They don't get involved. So I'd be surprised if the share count in G-Bucks does anything. But I could be wrong. There was a pretty darn strong share count in MMTLP, but a lot of people didn't move their shares, so there was never proof. And it just dragged on and on and on. So yeah, I'm not that optimistic that the dividend is going to make anything happen. What I think makes short squeeze happen, Danny, is you almost have to have collusion. You almost have to have long criminals going against short criminals. But I'm not saying that, the longs have to be careful. I don't think they break the law. They have to follow what their attorneys say and all that. But the key thing they have to add is computerized buying. So they have to have a computer or a trading desk or interconnected computers. Doing all of that spoofing and crossing and big bids, big ass, all of that stuff. They have to do that from, let's call it a long computer, and then the shorts do it all the time. So that when those two computers run into their activity, it doesn't work unless we're involved. And that's what I think happened with AMC and GME. There was such a flood of money from all different places, the computers didn't process it very well. So these selling computers do have, I think, fail-safe numbers or let's not go too far here, boys. So they start buying in, and they'll do it, Danny, they do it on a daily basis. They'll sell stock that doesn't exist at 9:31, and they'll buy it back at 9:31:30, and they'll do it all day. It's this high frequency stuff. I don't know why we need it in the over-the-counter markets. But no, I don't think the dividend's going to do it. No. I think you need a big surprise that's good and changes the value overnight. Or you need a lot of buying coming in all at once, which partly can be just from like I just described, a computer doing it. As long as somebody is buying for real, then you can also juice it up with long computers. And I don't know the mechanics, so I'm just telling you roughly what happens. It's expensive, though. It's really expensive. So you have to have somebody willing to put up the money. And it's not guaranteed to work either. But it has, So, and the other thing you need is the prime brokers losing money. So the clients don't want to put up money. The prime broker wants to cut their losses, and then they close out the trades. So that part is real. We just have never gotten to that part. And in that sense, if it did happen, if a squeeze were to happen, G-Bucks could go really high. Or that other one, 10 cent or whatever it is. But I think Fingers, There's some advantages, Danny, with Finger. There's not a lot of stock out. They don't have a huge toxic node out there, but they just did another one in December. They don't think they did, but and it's disguised, but I think they did via Roth. I think it was toxic. It's not the same. It's not the same, but I think it created a lot of short shares. And anyway, but the good thing is they've kept their cap table tight. You know the story, the good things that could happen. And all you need is a catalyst. And there's a lot of buyers for Finger. You guys, me, there's probably thousands of people that step in and buy it. So it's possible. But I don't see it happening soon. I don't see a dividend happening soon, which was something I predicted months ago and got a lot of heat about it. But I wonder what to say about Danny, I don't know what to say about Finger's price because they have enough cash right now for a little while. It's just if they have to bid on another contract before revenue comes in, they're going to have to raise money. And what price do they raise it? If they needed to raise money now, what price would it be raised? I think we'll know better about Finger in September. And things could look a lot brighter in September. They could for Finger. Oh, from Biblical. Yeah, you're right. Yes, Donna. I didn't see you had more. Oh, you lived in Iran? Wow. I wonder, I've never been to Iran. That must have been beautiful. I've heard anyway. I would say every human, the United States is so young, so we don't go back that long. But I like how you wrote that. They hold the 1,000-year grudges. I think that's right. You are right about that. You are right about that. I wish we just wouldn't get involved in them. I think that's exactly right. The memory is very, very long. And I never lived in Iran, so that must have been fascinating. That must have just been absolutely incredible. I wonder if it's true that they let, that Jews lived there in peace at that time. I don't know. That's sometimes you hear that, but I don't know if it's true. And I don't know about Christians. Who was the king? Oh gosh, and my brain's not working. The famous king. Don, I agree with you. I always hold myself in this channel, but my blood boils when Israel is being criticized. As a Hindu, I say, long live Israel. As a Hindu? That's interesting. I'm surprised that, and maybe that goes to Donna's point, maybe in India they don't hold long grudges. But I don't think the colonial powers were very great to Hindus. But maybe that's so long ago it doesn't matter. But Yeah, maybe Israel's great. Maybe I should just stop talking about it. I guess I've made my point that I don't know account settings where you live, but if you're in the United, I don't know. Can we afford it? I'll I'll long live Israel. Okay. Does the West know how many Hindus were butchered during Pakistan and Bangladesh created? Yeah, exactly. And that's another colonial. I don't know the number of how many, but that's another colonial nightmare. I don't know why you would support. And I don't know. I guess that's the problem. If you see Israel as having existed for thousands of years, right where it is, but it was just temporarily. They lost a couple wars to the Romans, maybe to the Persians, to the Turks, but it was just temporary, and they belong there. Maybe that's different, but I kind of see them as a colonial occupier, just like Britain did to India. But yeah, that's terrible. Um, uh, I have read some things, but I don't. I find it all just like in the Middle East. It's very hard to understand everything. And Donna's correct. Um, um, what does this say? The West must stop preaching. Let us deal with the bloody Islamists which they created. Ah, ah, every time the West think they have the custodian of humanity, the whole West minds their own business. I agree with that. I agree with that. I'm all for you on that. I'm all for you on that. For God's sakes, women aren't sold to slavery because of American policies. It is directed in Islamist tasks, please. Well, I don't know anything about that. All I know is women and men, too, are currently sold into slavery in Libya, and that wasn't happening before. That's all I know. Maybe it's Islam. Maybe that's Islam. I don't know. But uh, we turned Libya into a failed state. I don't know account settings. Did we do anything good in Afghanistan? Did we do anything good? And I don't know. I know. My talking about it, it's not going to change a thing. That's exactly right. My talking about it's not going to change a thing. That I agree with. Women have been sold right now by Islamists on the streets of London. Children are being sold here in the United States. I'm not sure. It's all awful. I'm not sure it directly refutes what I was saying, but I guess your point is it's Islam that allows it. And you might. I don't know. I don't know. I live in a country that allowed slavery for a long, long time. So I don't think it was, in our case, I don't think it was Islamists, but we stopped it a long time ago, I guess. It's all right, account settings. You don't have to apologize to me anyway, because um, uh, if I talk politically, I should expect you to. It's all right. Um, it's all right. I'm listening to you and Donna. I'm listening to both of you. What you've said, I have to process it. So maybe we're just doing the best we can. That could be. Hey, John. Talking about peace. When are you going to make peace with Tony? Who's Tony? Who's Tony? JP. Oh, you're talking about De Niro? I don't know him personally, so I don't have any problem with him personally. But I think he's uh, I think he's uh, mis. You know, I think he's part of the short system. So if you want to listen to Tony, you should. But I think you have to be very careful. He makes very basic observations, and I mean, you can't argue with the fact that in Railtown's balance sheet are the the reports is the statement of a going concern. On the other hand, every small company has that. So is it misleading? I think so. I think so. But that's not personal. Um, I just think his motives are to take money from you, JP. But if I'm wrong, you can stick with him. Have you ever made money with Tony, JP? Have you ever saved money with Tony? Has he ever given you an idea? It's fine. I don't look. I'm not trying to. Uh, I really don't care one way or the other about Tony personally. I don't know him, but I think he comes. He came, JP, and I can show it to you. And when this stock was 28 cents, he was making fun of me as a YouTuber, and he was trying to get people to sell the stock. If you would listen to him, you'd have lost money. I think Tony works for the shorts, and I'm not going to make peace with the shorts. Individually, maybe they'll see the light. One by one, they'll see the light. But until then, they're just stealing your money. But if you want to go on with it, you can. It's up to you. If you want to stay in with Tony, just do it. I mean, he's not teaching you anything earth-shattering. Maybe you don't know, but 11/26/2008, Mumbai, yeah, Pakistani Islamists killed. I remember the Mumbai terror attacks. I didn't know the only country where Jews were never butchered is India. I don't think they're butchered here either. Do you have? Is there some space in India for Israel? I'm just kidding. We have built their temple, and one top. California. Yeah, California. let's see what you said. I can say the mass curve is because we're paying for it. Yeah, my dad would get mad at me, but I agree with you on Russia, which is a place I lived, so I never lived in Russia. I lived in the Soviet Union. But it's amazing what Russia has done. I think I think the one adult in the room is Putin, and the huge energy reserves they have, the huge assets. I think Putin remembers what the banking system did to the ruble, and when they got Yeltsin to give all of the assets away share by share to the population, a handful of guys came in and bought up all the shares because the Russians didn't really know what they were. And then that's what created the oligarchs. And so the future, the Russian assets, which I think should belong to the Russian people, went to a few men and the banks. And I think Putin sees that 100%. And he's been fighting. I don't know if he's enriched himself or not. That's what the propaganda says. But every Democrat has. Kushner has. Biden did. Samantha Powers did. Obama, Hillary, Bill. So I don't think it's fair to accuse Putin of doing what they're doing. But I'm not sure Putin did. But what I think Putin is trying to do is run Russia for the Russian people, not for the oligarchs, not for the banks. And while we are, and Donna's correct, the wars, the grudges in particular, around forever. But while we're carrying on all these wars, which I think probably more than anything is on behalf of the banks, and getting nowhere. Maybe we mean well, but I don't know. It scares me. Russia, while we were doing that, Russia built up their weaponry and their infrastructure and their contracts and their gold reserves and their financials and their cities. I think Russia's going to have their American century, and I know it's not Hindu, but they brought back religion. I think Russia has done a tremendous job, and I think the only reason we should be friends with Russia, but I think the only reason we're at war with them is because Hillary lost an election. Otherwise, we should be friends with them. And now it's part of the neocon crap. I wish Saddam and Gaddafi were alive today. Well, the two sons were horrible. But, we made both. We didn't make Gaddafi, but we made Saddam. I don't know if we made him, but we backed. We were not displeased when Iran and Iraq were both at war. Yeah, it's interesting, the human rights. But what about how we treat? I don't know. It can get endless, can it? So maybe we should not talk about. Maybe I should just let the wars go on, and we'll just talk about making money. I can't help myself sometimes. But I do think it's terrible not only what happened in 2008, but all the years back, but nobody knows about it. I don't know much about it. Sorry, it's 11:10. I think maybe I'll just end it there. And I guess long live Israel. It is all oil, but it's oil, but it's the dollar and it's the banks. It's the financial system. Because I'm sure you know about account settings, but we defend the Saudi royal family. And that's I don't know this young guy though. He seems to be more progressive, but that's a different issue than defending. Well, there's not a lot of Saudis in Saudi Arabia, I guess. But yeah, it's the oil, it's the petrodollar, but I think it's the banking system. And yes, I agree with you. Saudi Arabia doesn't seem to care very much about the Palestinians. But maybe in the street. I don't know. All right, I'm going to sign off. Maybe I won't come on tomorrow. Leave you guys for having to hear any views I have. And we'll wish peace to Israel. And who knows the answer, right? So I'm going to sign off.